And welcome everybody to another episode of the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am your host, Louis Sung, and joining me as always is my co-host, Ron Caniff, still rocking them shades. And in the background, of course, we could have our good friend Manny Chang, our producer, and our sometimes third co-host whenever he feels like chiming in, which, by the way, he always has an open invitation to do. How are you guys? So I know Manny probably in the background doing private chat stuff, seeing how he's telling us how he's doing. Ron, how are you doing?
I'm awesome, man. It's 5 days.
5 days.
Been waiting for this for a while.
I know, right?
Really, I've been most excited about this season. I mean, it's all kind of came to fruition, but when we got Tyreek, that's when I'm like, man, I just cannot wait till week one.
Right.
At the time, I don't even know if we knew who we were playing week one. I'm not even sure, but I've been ready. I can't believe it's only 5 days away, but I can't believe I have to wait 5 more days.
I know, right? It just feels like it's taking forever. 5 days until we get to watch Mike McDaniel lead the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. Lee Connolly, thank you for joining us at midnight, apparently from the UK. Always a pleasure to have you on with us. Matthias, bring some optimism today. I'm optimistic. Believe me, I'm not pessimistic about this whole thing. The only thing I did was I made a quick comment on Twitter just to say what because I do have some feelings about whether or not we're underestimating the New England Patriots. Because remember, this is still the New England Patriots. But we'll get into all that in just a little bit. Lee thinks that you like the okay, so Matthias and Lee are going to go at it about your shades, Ron. I hope you don't mind.
That's right. It's definitely been a mixed bag, 50-50 on the shades or not the shades. I'm sticking with it. It's like a really generic gimmick that isn't original.
All right. And before we get too far into it, of course, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors for this show, PrizePicks.com, the revolutionary fantasy platform where you pick up to 5 different players across professional sports leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB. You can even pick one of each if you want. It's up to you. You can choose the over or the under on those individual players' fantasy projections, whether that's individual stats like passing yards or rushing yards, or if you just want to go for the classic fantasy point projections, like, say, for instance, Tua Tagovailoa may account for 20 fantasy points against the New England Patriots. If you guess right, then you will win, and Prize Picks will even offer you a free pick from time to time. So ironically enough, I mentioned it. This week, they're actually going to be gift wrapping Tom Brady for you. So if Tom Brady throws for more than half a yard in the first week of the regular season, which unless hell freezes over, he's definitely going to do that, then you will win on that prop. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up. So use the promo code 5. Again, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5. You spell that out, FIVE. PrizePicks.com, who we at 5 Reasons Sports are proud to have as our sponsors, PrizePicks.com. All right. So, and right there, and then in and of itself, are we writing off the New England Patriots too easily? I have several tweets regarding that situation. Of course, the live chat is going wild about that. And of course, our good friend Duke in the chat, and always nice to have you on here, man. Fans are underestimating the Pats. The team is not. I think that's a fair assessment. But of course, this is the Pulse of Fins Nation, and the fans are what make Fin Nation. So I'll let you go ahead, Ron. You're usually the guy who's all like, it's New England. We can't underestimate them. So what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
When Belichick decided out of all these years, I mean, it's always been hot and humid in Florida. When he decided that he absolutely needed to shake things up and come in 5 days early, I knew right then we had him. I knew that they knew we had him. Yes, true. The Dolphins aren't taking the Patriots lightly, but you know who's the most concerned about this game and just probably feeling like maybe they're just not going to have it is the Patriots themselves. I think he's almost signaling to his team, man, we got to do something different. We're going to get killed in this game. So, I mean, they would go get killed against a kind of mediocre, talented Miami sometimes, right? Good defense, really lackluster offense. Now you got to deal with both. Yeah, I think they're nervous. Manny thinks that's funny.
I mean, listen, for the fact that Bill Belichick wears a hoodie, I mean, when I see this comment, Bill's sweating, I mean, doesn't he sweat regardless? I don't even know exactly.
I mean, in New England, it's always cold, so it's so he always has to have that hoodie on. And right. I listen, he's a tougher man than I, because if I'm in the cold, I'm gonna be like I'm the kind of guy who's like in the comics who comes out of the door when it's snowing and I freeze before I step outside. Yeah. It's like can't move. I
loved Alf's comment just now. Yeah. Fourth preseason game. That's beautiful.
That's
with awesome. All the starters playing.
Yes, exactly. This is the warm-up game for the season. It's still a 16-game season. This is just our warm-up game.
All right. And McDaniel. Oh, that's right. Mike McDaniel wears hoodies.
Yeah, he's crazy to wear hoodies in this weather. Ugh.
Is he trying to tell us something?
That considering he's a Shanahan disciple, it's a kind of maybe he's playing some mind games with Bill Belichick. So plenty of talk on the Twitter world there. I've got a bunch of tweets that I went ahead and pulled up, so we'll go with the first one. This is from Finn at Finn10505525. I don't think any Finns fan actually thinks this will be a cakewalk. Well, our live chat would beg to differ. 50 plus years of watching these Finns, and I've learned not to do that. Now I think we all want it to be a blowout with us scoring 40 plus points, but never underestimate Bill Belichick.
Okay.
A lot of nodding, just a lot of nodding.
Okay. I mean that's pretty much what you're gonna get from me. I get the whole don't underestimating it. I get the
but you were
history.
The one, Ron. Last year,
it's a division game. But
Ron's confidence was a little bit different last year. Now it's just, you know what? I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, Ron just
gonna let it.
Ron is
gonna let it fly. I'm really letting it fly on Twitter, man. I'm just to harass the Patriots fans. You can feel they're just scared. They know this season is 5 days from them realizing they ain't it. and it's on to see can we tank for Stroud. That's what their season's gonna be about.
Oh, is that what we're doing now with the Patriots? They're just gonna tank for this new kid.
They're gonna suck for Stroud. I don't know. Something better.
Somebody
will come up with something better.
I feel like suck for luck kind of rolled off the tongue.
Suck for luck was the best one. Tank for Tua, which we kind of did, I guess.
We halfway did it, yeah.
Many would say we should have halted for Herbert, but I guess not.
No, I mean we could have had Herbert, and quite frankly, you know what? It's a different thing. So Rob at Random R26, he was the one who said, never underestimate the refs being highly involved in New England games. Fully expect them to be extremely strict with press interference and holding against the Finns while letting New England get away with murder. Hopefully the talent gap overcomes. Ron, you had a fan for like 5 minutes and now he's gone again. I don't know. What did you say? I don't know.
I said some people think we should have halted for Herbert, but you know.
Oh, okay.
I said some people. I didn't say me. He has as many playoff appearances as Tua has.
But yeah, the referees. It does feel like that the referee love for the Patriots has kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit.
Yeah, it went to Tampa Bay.
It went to Tampa Bay.
Brady.
It had nothing to do with Bill Belichick. Absolutely,
it wasn't a Patriots thing. It was a Brady thing.
Yeah, so the tuck rule, yeah. So now the Tom Brady, who by the way, again, Price Picks, half a yard, easy one for you. Now that Brady's gone, I guess Bill Belichick doesn't get any special treatment anymore, which should make things fairly interesting. One of the reasons that I was wondering about if we were underestimating New England was that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, only 2 first-time Miami Dolphins head coaches have ever beaten Bill Belichick in their first ever meeting, and those 2 were Tony Sparano and I'm trying to remember the other one. Oh, it was I can't remember his name. Dave Wannstedt.
Well, I mean,
Wannstedt and Sparano both beat him the first time. Everybody else failed.
Most of the time, most new coaches are taking over bad teams. Wannstedt really wasn't taking over a bad team. If you remember, they were starting to build that defense up. They got Ricky Williams and whatnot. So I don't, and I believe that was Wannstedt's first season. I just don't look at that parallel because I don't know that any new head coach has ever had a team this talented. Honestly, it's a really talented team. I mean, we'll see how it shakes out, but how many new head coaches get a shot to have a first game and have a roster like this? There's not many.
No, it's
so
hard.
I don't know that the history really means anything in this case.
Well, ironically enough, I went ahead and I just did some history homework, actually, because I was very curious. Because now that I read about it and now that I saw what it was and Mike McDaniel's comments about the biggest win disparity ever, I actually went back and I was curious. Because remember, Mike McDaniel is a Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan disciple, right? So it got me thinking exactly how successful were the Shanahans against Bill Belichick? So I went ahead and I just dug into it. So starting in the year 2000, which is 22 years ago. Oh my God, 22 years ago. Like, when did I get old? That's the crazy. When did I get old, man?
I
Um,
feel old.
You haven't yet. You're like still in your 20s, aren't you?
I am 1 year
So-
away from no longer
you-
being in the 20s.
You didn't get old then. I got
Not
old.
yet. I'm not there yet.
Enjoy
Next
it.
year,
Luke.
next year is the big 3-0.
Enjoy it. That's all I gotta say.
All right.
All right. So what's the record here with the?
All right,
Shanahan
so
against
I
Bill
went.
Belichick?
I'm going to go ahead and go through it. So in 2000, Bill Belichick beat Mike Shanahan's Broncos 28-19. The quarterbacks in that game actually was not Brady yet. It was still Drew Bledsoe, and Brian Griese was the Broncos quarterback. Like there's a name for you, Brian Griese. 2001, Mike Shanahan beat Belichick 31-20. Brady was in that game. Griese was the quarterback still. Brady sucked in that game, by the way. 2002, Shanahan beats Belichick again, 24-16. Another bad game by Brady. Griese was the quarterback once again. Then in 2003, so they met each other 4 years in a row. Belichick beats Shanahan this time, 30-26. Brady was good. Danny Cannell was the quarterback for the Broncos in that game. So Danny Cannell, like it's I
FSU,
can't help but,
right? Wasn't he an FSU QB?
I don't know, but I can't help but notice that our good friend Chad Ronnebaum is in the chat and saying that he's always loved and hated you.
Yeah, we do. We have a love.
I'm gonna get you in here eventually, Chad. I swear. Like we gotta get on that. All right. So 2004, they don't meet up. 2005 in the divisional round. And this is after the regular season one. In 2005 regular season, Shanahan beat Belichick 28-20. Jake Plummer was the quarterback for Denver, while Brady was the quarterback for New England. 2005, they meet again in the divisional round, and Shanahan beats Belichick again 27-13. And that's again, Jake Plummer is the quarterback versus Tom Brady.
Jake Plummer beat Bill Belichick
Twice.
Wow.
In the same
Plummer
year.
actually had, if you go back and look at just for the period of time, he actually had decent stats considering the period of time. You bring it into now and it's nothing special.
Wait, Ron, when you kind of say it that way, though, it kind of reminds me of a guy in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, who has all the stats, just can never win.
No, yeah, no doubt. But he was, I don't think Jake Plummer was, I don't want to get into a Jake Plummer conversation, but he wasn't as terrible a quarterback as people made him out to be.
Oh, apparently Alfredo's got some good news for your Eagles.
Oh, Alf? Yeah, I am not. Nope, I am not falling into that right now. we're not even in the Thursday night matchup yet. Like, what's going on here?
All right. So going down the list again, it's a long list for the Mike Shanahan world. So in 2006, Gary Kubiak, who was the offensive coordinator up until that point, leaves. Rick Dennison comes in. Shanahan beats Belichick again, 17-7, and it's again Jake Plummer as the quarterback for Denver. And then in 2008. Bill Belichick beats Mike Shanahan 41-7. That was the worst one. That was the biggest point disparity there. Matt Castle was the quarterback for New England. Jay Cutler for the Broncos. So the curse of Jay Cutler continues. And then finally, it takes that's not until 2011 do the Shanahans meet again. It's now Mike Shanahan is now the coach for the then Washington Redskins. Mike Shanahan was the head coach. Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator. The only time these two actually meet up at the same team to face Belichick, and Belichick beat them 34-27. It was Brady versus Rex Grossman. You notice the difference here between these quarterbacks that the Shanahans had. And
they always have like
the worst
run of the mill, Garoppolo type
old man journey quarterbacks that didn't succeed. So then they pick them up and they plug them into their system, and they somehow, some way have wins all of a sudden.
Dude, seriously, like Mike McDaniel, this might because he's kind of followed along suit with the Shanahans. Obviously,
that's why I'm going down this
quarterback.
Whole list.
Tua might be the best quarterback he's ever coached.
I was going to say that when you put Tua in the names that we just named, Jake Plummer, Rex Grossman, who else was
Greasy.
Like you just have to probably say to yourself, Tua has to be better than these guys. Like, there's no
he's better than all those guys you named so far. That's for sure.
Like, there's no possible way that could happen.
And he never had a Tyreek Hill to scheme with either.
He never had a Jalen Waddle either, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
So ultimately, they faced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 times in the Mike Shanahan era. So ultimately, Shanahan went 5-4 versus Bill Belichick. If you want to go ahead and give Kyle Shanahan a loss for the time he was the OC, then that makes Kyle Shanahan 0-1 from this point. Then Shanahan retires in 2014. Kyle Shanahan becomes the OC for the Browns. They do not meet, so they're still 0-1. no Belichick when Shanahan becomes the OC for Dan Quinn in 2015. And the one time in 2016 that the Falcons and the Patriots met up was, of course, the Super Bowl, 34-28. They blew it at the very end. They had the lead, and they just pissed it away. Gone.
Yes.
The offense and the defense fell apart. So you can, I don't know if you want to give a knock to Kyle Shanahan for that, because they were doing well and then they just weren't. But that makes Kyle Shanahan 0-2 versus Belichick at this point in his career. And they do not meet up again, Kyle Shanahan and Bill Belichick, until 2020.
Yeah.
And Shanahan beat Belichick 33-6. It was Jimmy Garoppolo versus Cam Newton.
Remind you that was that year we played San Fran as well, of course, and we destroyed them.
Right. But see, that's the point that I was making with all of this, because Matthias is asking, is there a point to this? Yes, there actually is, because this is the thing that I'm looking at. The point of me looking up all that was how much success has Bill Belichick had versus the Shanahans and, of course, the Shanahan disciples. And it looks like the answer to that is it's mixed. It's not really that great. In fact, Mike Shanahan actually had more success than less success. And so with that in mind, if you have Mike McDaniel and the kind of talent that Miami has right now on this roster, you're looking at this whole thing and thinking, we've got this. We can do this. It definitely can't be as difficult as we're making it out to be, right? So when I say, are we underestimating New England? Like, again, I said it in my tweet. It's fun to dunk on them. Don't get me wrong. But to say that maybe we're underestimating them, I don't know. I feel like that. I know there's conspiracy theories. I know that Donna was doing it on the Extra Yard earlier this afternoon. It's all a conspiracy theory. New England is sucking on purpose. They're trying to play possum so that when the regular season rolls around, they can unleash their true wrath upon the NFL. I really don't think that's going to be the case. I think Mac Jones is, I don't think the talent on New England is worth worrying about. It's actually kind of interesting, because another one of the tweets that you went ahead and tweeted out, I'm going to go ahead and ask Manny to put that up there. It's from the Dolphins Talk. Our good friend Mike Oliva from Dolphins Talk tweeted out the video segment on NBC Sports Boston. And I'm just waiting for Manny. Is Manny gone? Did Manny get booted out? Because Manny's broadcasting from San Francisco, so I'm wondering.
Oh yeah, maybe he did, because he did just disappear.
Maybe his hotel internet is
Wi-Fi.
terrible. Okay, so basically, I watched the segment, and basically the New England sportscasters are all like, it's no big deal. We can take Miami. In fact, they're still saying to this day that New England has better players and better coaching and better everything than Miami, and Miami's really not that much to worry about, which absolutely baffles me to no end. To think that they can be so delusional as to believe that the overall, like, forget the coaching. Fine. You want to say that Bill Belichick has a better pedigree? Fine. I get it. I understand. But to say that the talent is better than Miami's, where are you looking exactly? Like, who on your roster are you staring at and saying, this guy's better than Tyreek Hill? This guy's better than Teron Armstead? This guy's better than Jalen Waddle? This guy's better than Mike Gesicki. I mean, your tight ends, maybe you could make an argument for that, because it's not like those guys are a slouch. Maybe they're trying to say something along the lines of, like, I'm trying to go down Nelson Aguilar, I guess. Okay, fine. Devontae Parker.
They're just used to saying it. They just still have this confidence and cockiness, like as if it was 4 or 5 years ago. They just haven't let go of that yet. They haven't accepted reality. I mean, let's face it. They just haven't. As a fan base, as a media, they haven't faced reality yet. But here, this one really got me too. Oh shoot, it just disappeared on me, but I'll find it again in 2 seconds. Patriots insider Tom Curran says Mike McDaniel may not get loyalty from his players because he isn't tall, imposing, and muscular. And
that was the segment.
Matters how you look as an authority figure regarding being an NFL head coach. Yeah, they're just really, I mean, when you're saying stuff like that, you're really grasping for straws. Really
it's wild. And Duke said that Pats with Brady could pull off that type of scam. The Pats with Mac, not so much. But yeah, I watched that segment before the show just to make sure that I was educated on the whole situation. I couldn't believe like the words that I was hearing coming out of this guy's mouth. Like, holy crap. Boston reporters really are crazy. Like, you're telling me now that Mike McDaniel not command the respect of his roster because he doesn't scare you? He doesn't walk in like Dan Campbell like this, acting like he owns the joint? Like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's, this guy still thinks it's 1982 or something. Here, this is
and
a
in
good
1982,
one.
who was scary back then, man? It's not like everybody was
Mike
wearing
Ditka.
a suit. Like, everybody was like,
nah, man, that's not in the 80s. The suits were like in the 60s
Vince
and
Lombardi
70s. Let's see. And here's another one too. I thought that this one was funny. It came from The Athletic. They did a power ranking, and they have good news and bad news for each team. This is what they put for the bad news for Miami. It will be really difficult to overcome. You guys, if you haven't read this, you're not going to believe what I'm saying. You're going to think I'm making this up. It will be really difficult to overcome the on-field impact of Stephen Ross's early season suspension. I swear
forgotten
to you.
about that.
I swear.
We were over it.
But ask me, like, what impact? What on-field impact for this year, right? Okay, next year we lost draft pick, and the year after a third round. Okay, that's going to have an on-field impact. But for this year, I mean, Stephen Ross is suspended through what? October? Were we planning on him calling plays for us? Was he coaching the quarterback room? I mean, what exactly of Stephen Ross being gone? We can have Fergie in. It's fine. She can do whatever it was that Stephen Ross can't do. And no, that's just silly. It's
the Williams
my point on that is it's gone to silly town with the stuff they're trying to find on Miami. It's just they're trying to see what's the most outlandish, stupid thing I can say to get clicks from Dolphins fans.
Oh, no.
That's it. That's all it is.
There was a quarterback ranking that came out today, and I replied on it.
I was
Dante, who was
in a Twitter fight with a dude over that for like an hour, and I don't get into Twitter fights anymore. But
like Geno Smith, apparently,
and
Mariota is higher ranked than Tua Tagovailoa. Geno, maybe Marcus Mariota, I could squint and kind of see where you're coming from, just because Marcus Mariota can run more, but Geno Smith, what about Geno Smith makes you think that he's better than Tua? What? Name me one thing.
Yeah,
seriously.
That's silly. Somebody just had a question. Can you bring that up, Lewis?
No, I can't.
Do you think
that's
our O-line...
Is Manny back there? Manny, are you back? Are you the one putting up these
They're
comments?
just randomly coming. Do you think our O-line will handle the blitzing New England is sure to bring? I don't know if it's much of the O-line as it's going to be the scheme, the play calling, Tua recognizing it and using the playbook to his advantage. I think that's where they're really going to take advantage. Not necessarily just straight O-line blocking the blitz, but I think it's going to be more about the scheme, checking into one play out of another, calling the protections and just calling the right play for a blitz. I think that's really where in practice, that's what I was seeing some of that. I was just seeing how some of the play calls really just hurt the defense when they were blitzing, because someone would just end up wide open. And so I think a lot of that is what's going to make teams wary, especially if Patriots put a lot of blitzing on tape and you end up with a lot of open receivers. That's going to make other teams maybe wary, like maybe blitzing isn't the answer.
I mean, even if they do try to do that, think about this. How have the Patriots gotten past that all these years? Every time the Dolphins
throwing to backs
blitz,
and tight ends.
Let's see.
Throwing to backs and tight ends.
Yep. There's this guy. That's the bread and butter of the Mike McDaniel offense.
And we haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't even got to see any of that stuff yet from Miami. I think we saw, was it the second week where Edmonds played and he caught a couple passes and you started to say, dang, that guy's really good coming out of the backfield, but we haven't really hardly seen it. They've been keeping it under wraps.
And there's Alfredo with a key point with Teron Armstead and Robert Hunt. When they call the slide protection to pick up blitzes, they're going to have one of the stronger guys actually doing the job. So it's not going to be like Austin Jackson is going to be the head guy or Liam Eichenberg is going to be the guy that they call to answer that question. It's going to be one of the two guys that can actually handle the job. And okay, so I know that Manny's back now because tweets are coming back on the screen. Woo! Welcome back, Manny. All right. So next comment, this is from, can you scroll up a little bit, Manny? Because I can't actually see the name on there. So show 'em Tua at Blues42 Dolphin. Belichick's coaching is becoming antiquated. This is a new era of young coaches coming through the ranks, and they're all offensive minded. We run this 49ers offense efficiently with no hiccups. We will win. We will wear their defense down by running that ball down their throats. That's the other thing. If you really think about it, another way to beat the blitz is by like running draw plays, stuff like that, running the football. Again, that's exactly what Mike McDaniel wants to do. What was it that he said? That he wants to run the ball at least 20 times per game? If New England brings the pressure, all they have to do is get just a few guys to get some push. I know Robert Hunt can push. I know Connor Williams can push. And I know Teron Armstead is going to get his job done. So you give Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert just even the smallest windows to run through, they're going to stop blitzing real quick. They're not going to be able to get away with that because they know they're going to get beat on the run game. And then that's exactly what they're supposed to be playing into. You run the ball to set up the pass, and ultimately you're going to be able to let Tua let it fly. Now, that means I wouldn't necessarily pick Tua on my prize picks because I don't know how many yards he's going to get if the running game is really working that well. But I definitely foresee the offense humming like a well-oiled machine. I don't see anything. Again, I don't see anything on this New England defense that really scares me. I'm just looking, and again, I'm looking at this whole thing. Jalen Mills, Kyle Duggar, Jack Jones, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones. Like, I know Devin McCourty's still Devin McCourty. Okay, we got to watch out for that, I guess. But I'm not seeing anything that's making me, like, shaking my boots, especially not in the secondary. The only one that...
They've been known for having, bringing unknowns into the forefront before, definitely. But this is week 1 too, so yeah, they're just, I just think that whole team is going to struggle against us.
Yeah, Matthew Judon, he's the one to worry about.
Judon's good. Yeah, he's good. But again, they had Judon last year, and we had a much worse line. So think about week 1 last year. We're going into New England, right? We're going into New England with, was it Austin Jackson? I don't even remember who
it was. Eichenberg.
No, Eichenberg wasn't a left guard last year. They had him,
not a guard.
all over
the
place.
A guard.
At left guard, I don't even remember.
I thought you were talking about the tackles, but
I think it was Dieter at
Jesse
center.
Davis.
Yeah, Jesse Davis was in there. I mean, it was just a mess. I mean, it's a better situation against a weaker team, just from the offensive line. I'm not even counting all the other pieces. Yeah. And they're going to remember you got that fullback. He's going to be pounding in there a ton, so
and
it's going to be really interesting.
We haven't even seen Alec Ingold yet.
We haven't even seen Ingold. We really haven't seen the running. I mean, they've really been keeping it under wraps. I think McDaniel has been waiting for this moment for his entire life, almost. If you think about it, McDaniel has been waiting for this moment to be a head coach of an NFL team since he was a kid. You don't think he's going to try and really take advantage of that in this game and show the world, here's the stuff that I always wanted to do? Dude, Gaskin told me at practice. He said to me directly, you guys have no idea. I have no idea how the NFL is going to play us this year. You guys have no clue the kind of plays that we have drawn up. You can't even imagine. It's stuff that no one's seen before. Like, he said that directly.
So perfect. I appreciate it.
I'm excited, man. I'm really excited about it.
I appreciate that insight because, again, Myles Gaskin is running back 4, and if even he's excited, I mean, geez.
At the time he said it, I thought he was going to be running back on someone else's team. To be honest, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, I thought so too. I didn't think Gaskin would. Whatever. I'm not going to argue.
No, that's fine. I mean, the roster is the roster. It's still a great roster. Last year, Gaskin was our running back 1. Correct?
Yeah, he was our starter.
And now you could call him probably RB3. So, I think that's an improvement.
All right. Matthias doesn't believe you about Gaskin talking to you, by the way.
No, I swear 100%. Well, it wasn't like, hey, sure. It wasn't like I had it.
It wasn't a straight up interview.
I brought my friend Keith from Tennessee. Anybody who's followed me for years and years, you guys heard me talk about him. From Tennessee, he always has to get stuff signed. So when I just went with him because I don't care about getting stuff signed. And when the guy was signing it over the fence, Gaskin said that. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I was having lunch with him. No, I didn't want it to make it sound like that. I guess it came off that way. No, it wasn't in some kind of official capacity. It was just him chatting at the line when he was signing autographs.
I mean, those are the best. Sometimes those are the best conversations is when you're just having a candid little chit chat.
Utterance.
Yes, there you go. Exactly. By the way, who's playing opposite X? Anyone? I'm still thinking it's going to be Nick Needham.
Well, according to the depth chart, it shows Needham as the other boundary cornerback, but the depth chart doesn't tell us who is the slot cornerback.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Rowe, but I don't know for sure.
The depth chart also said that Preston Williams was like wide receiver too, and we both know that was a lie. So I'm not.
No, but that was a, that was just a silly
lies and slander.
Preseason
Ron.
depth chart. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is more of an official depth chart. Yes, it could be changed, of course, but I was curious who was going to be on there as the other boundary cornerback, and that was the first thing I went to look at. And it was Needham. So I'm kind of anticipating Needham going to the other spot where Byron Jones would be.
You want your best players doing the most important jobs. That's the honest truth. And right now, between everybody who's on that roster, the one I trust the most on the boundary is the guy that I've watched for the past 3 years. And personally, if it were me, I would have Nick Needham playing on the boundary. And I understand that he's going to get beat sometimes because, again, Nick Needham is not like a
Byron
superstar
Jones.
corner. He's not Byron Jones. He's not Byron Jones.
Byron Jones. And probably no one has a Byron Jones-esque cornerback sitting on their team playing backup boundary. Yes, he's our slot cornerback. I get that. But probably no one in the league has that. So any like Buffalo, for the first 4 weeks, they're taking a hit. They're out, they're out there starting cornerback. They're taking a hit. You guys think that they have somebody just as good sitting there? No, they don't. No team does. Every team's going to have injuries. Every team's going to have things they got to work around. It's all right. I'm done panicking about one position, one team, because then you always think, oh, this guy's going to get killed. And it's going to be, it's the difference between the Patriots scoring 10 points and 20 points. Actually, statistically throughout the league, it's absolutely not that. You know what I mean? It never is that for any team. There's barely a non-QB player that's even worth a full point, even 1 point. There's barely a non-QB player who is valued at 1 point. So I'm not freaking out about it. Would I rather have Byron Jones? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, obviously. That's why I say Nick Needham should be on the boundary. Again, because the idea is the best players are in the most important positions. Now, here's my plan, because I see people saying that Noah Igbenogany should be. Why? Noah Igbenogany should not be on the team. He should forget that. But anyway.
I don't know. I mean, they could have cut him. I didn't know you.
He's a first-round pick, and cutting him would be a loss on their cap space.
Do you think about the Raiders? The Raiders cut a first-round pick, and he was drafted 1 year after Alex.
They don't care about money.
Apparently, they don't. So apparently, it's possible.
We have to
take a big hit, but it is possible. If he was really that bad in their eyes, he wouldn't be on the team right now, in my opinion.
And this is not. And when I say Nick Needham should be on the boundary, again, this is my opinion. I'm not a super film guy. Probably Alfredo has more on that than I do. But the reason I have Nick Needham on the boundary is because, again, he is the best player available right this second. Noah Igbenogany is garbage. We know he's garbage. We've watched him be garbage. It has not changed ever. He has been garbage his entire time he's been here. Every snap, he has been garbage. So I don't want him out there. Now, Nick Needham has not been garbage the entire time. He's the best in the slot. Everybody knows this about Nick Needham. I got that. But if you're going to say that right now we don't have our top corner, one of our top corners for 4 games, I want to be able to pick the guy that I know for a fact can do a good job. Nick Needham is okay. He's not great at the boundary, but he's okay. And do you trust Keon Crossan more than you trust Nick Needham? Do you trust Kader Kohu more than you trust Nick Needham? I do not. And the reason why is because we have other options in the slot that we do not necessarily have on the boundary. Javon Holland can come into the slot easily.
If one of our other boundary guys goes out, that's when it gets a little scary for us. You know what I mean? Honestly, that's when it would get a little scary for us.
I love the snark from Alfredo, though. They should start Noah so he can look good against the slugs from New England. Okay, listen, I don't know. Nice. Is even that going to be enough? I honestly don't know. Alfredo says that they're going to start Keon Crossan on the boundary. Okay, listen, if that's what their plan is, then
interesting. I just assumed Needham just because I saw Needham on the other side of the depth chart. So maybe a little bit of guile from from the staff there, from Mike McDaniel. And
well,
Josh
listen,
Boyer.
if Keon Crossan pulls it off, then you know what? Great, fantastic. We found another diamond in the rough. Huzzah for Chris Greer. So next tweet that we've got here, Jay Campbell. This will not be an easy game like most are saying. Belichick will have a competitive team on the field, and it's silly to think he won't. This is McDaniel's first game as a head coach in the NFL, a regular season, I should say. And it's not an easy feat against one of the greatest coaches and brilliant football minds. So this actually brings up an interesting
But
discussion.
he isn't. I think we're already proven that he isn't a brilliant mind. It was Tom Brady. You know, I used to think that too. I used to think, man, it was all Belichick. It was all Belichick. It was all Belichick. It's not. I understand that they got to the playoffs last year. But, I mean, go back and look at their wins. Like, look at their season, and then look what happened to them when they played Buffalo. Yeah, the Buffalo wind game thing. If it wasn't even for them pulling that out of their butt, they wouldn't have even been in the playoffs. But then the next two times they played Buffalo, they got killed and then got destroyed. This is not a team that plays well against good, talented teams. Last year's Patriots wasn't. This year's Patriots going to be even less. Period. Like I'm done worshiping Belichick in the great hoodie. It's over. I just think it's clear that it's over. This guy is like so in his head about this big ego and trying to prove everybody wrong. And I'll show you. I'll use Matt Patricia as my defense coordinator. I'll call the offensive plays. I'm better than Josh McDaniels. I'm better than Tom Brady. It's like it's done. Enough with this guy.
Yeah, and
all right,
to add on to pile onto that, if it was still McDaniel and they only had a rough preseason, sure, Josh McDaniels, not Mike McDaniel. So if it was still only Josh McDaniels in New England and they only had a rough preseason, sure. But with Matt Patricia as the offensive play caller, makes me feel a lot better about Miami's chances. So, but yeah, Matt Patricia up until this point has been a defensive coach. Why on earth would you make him? That's like saying, Brian Flores, you've been here forever as our defensive guy. I'm going to make you the offensive coordinator this year.
To be fair, Flores was the passing game coordinator for like a year in New England. Okay. I think Matt Patricia actually coached offense. Somebody pointed out to me on Twitter like a decade ago, but he's not exactly proficient at it.
It's like, woohoo, extra who? Happy? Like, dude,
I like Alfredo's comment.
Okay, well, I'm never going to be a fan of Tom Brady. I'm sorry. I don't like Tom Brady. I despise Tom Brady no matter what team he's on. If he were on Miami, I would
70 and 79 without Brady. Dang, I didn't even know he coached that many games without Brady.
So think of the Cleveland years, you have to take those into account.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The Cleveland years bring him down for sure.
So greatest coach of all time? No. I'm still going to give that to Don Shula. I'm sorry. I feel like Shula earned it. Shula still earned it more than
you're not allowed to do a Dolphin show and not say that Don Shula is better.
Well, listen, you could make the argument that you're not allowed to do it. You can't. You could argue you can make a Dolphin. You can't make a Dolphin show without saying that Dan Marino was the greatest quarterback. But we've done that a few times now, and I feel disgusting in my skin for doing it. It's like you think Tom Brady's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he is the greatest of all time, unfortunately. Yeah,
right,
I mean, I wish it wasn't the case, but it's the truth. But Belichick,
truth, but
no, he's not better than Shula.
Shula
proved, yeah. You know what? Belichick is trying to prove that he can change with the league, right, and win. And he's not only is he's proving that he can't, he's proving that he's stubborn and refuses to do it the right way, and then decides, oh, let's work in some outside zone stuff. I mean, you're either a zone blocking team or you ain't. I mean, I understand that every zone team will run some power and every power team will run a little zone. I get that, but it's like, it's just a mess. It's a mess. And we're going to show them how much of a mess they are 1:00 on Sunday.
And it's wild to me that pretty much all the tweets that we've pulled up have all been the same thing. We're going against a team that went to the playoffs and is still being coached by Bill Belichick. Man, Bill Belichick, like there's like a scar there, bro. There is like this trauma that comes with the hoodie.
It's It's Miami Dolphins PTSD with the Patriots. That's what it is. I had it all the way up to like a week ago. And then it took only last magically week? Cured. I don't know, too much liquor, too much coffee. I don't know. Something just cured it.
You mean
ever since then, I just been feeling fantastic about
the 6-man coverage interception was not enough for you?
The sextuple coverage. No, it was just something clicked. And then when I saw that Belichick moved it to Tuesday, I'm like, oh, he's reaching, and he knows it. He knows his team's in trouble. Bottom line, personally, I wonder if it's going to make them maybe they'll be less mentally, because it's a mental drain when you come in on like Saturday, you play a game Sunday at 1, and it's this heat like you just haven't felt ever in your life unless you go to Miami. I get that that's a mental drain. So if you go in there 4 or 5 days ahead of time, maybe the mental drain won't be there. But I got to be honest with you. You all of a sudden ask your team to go practice in this weather.
And by the way,
4 days before a game and they're not used to it. I kind of wonder if it's going to have an opposite effect and if they're just going to be physically more worn down. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Tyreek Hill is still used to this heat. How many times have we heard that guy mention, my God, the heat. I mean, he never stops talking about it. And the guy's been here since what? April or something? Not even sure.
And by the way, they're canceling some poor kid's team, their practices, because they need the field for it. They need the field instead. I'm like, but go away, kids. You bother me. We need your field now. Bye.
We need one of those kids over there with some binoculars.
There you go.
Recording.
Right. Like this is revenge. This is
Spygate, Tapegate, Deflategate, all the gates.
So yeah, all those gates. That should immediately disqualify Bill Belichick as greatest coach of all time. Just that by itself.
There you go. Yeah, tell me the gate that Shula was involved in about cheating.
Trade gate. That had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, there you go. All right, go ahead, Lewis. Read the next one.
All right, the next one is basically this second verse, same as the first. Any given Sunday, especially divisional game, anyone who thinks New England or the Jets is a walk-on is crazy. We lost to the Jags last year. This is true. We did lose to Jacksonville.
So did the Bills, but
this is true. Yeah, they lost. There you go. Fandom is one thing. Emotions, now that's a different story. So again, it's like a lot of people in the comments are also saying the same thing. It's like they can't believe how many people really feel like the Patriots are this big threat. Again, all I said was, are we underestimating them? Because we're dunking on them like they're a nothing team. But people are acting like, oh, we should be scared to death of the New England Patriots. I'm like, why? Other than the mystique of Bill Belichick that is quickly fading into the sunset, I don't understand like the scare. Other than the just fact that he's just that genius. And by the way, that was the reason I ran down all those stats at the beginning of the show, by the way, regarding the Shanahan records. Like, the Shanahans have proven they can beat Belichick. It's not like he whoops them every time they run into each other.
Even when he had Brady.
No, there were a lot of games.
Super Bowl team.
Yeah, there were a lot of games where Brady was bad in those Shanahan matchups. Like, Brady was just not good in those games. And so
you gotta, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that so you can give credit to the defensive coordinator of the Shanahans, but that's fine. But again, the head coach is this guy, and the Shanahans have proven again. Say it again, they can beat Belichick. And in that Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan as the offensive coordinator, again, the Falcons had it. The defense fell apart at the end, and the offense, I don't know what happened. They just kind of like fell apart at the last minute. So they still could have won up until that whole time. I
mean, also, too, you got to consider Shanahan, the Shanahans and the Shanahan tree have done it with a lot of different QBs, as we said. Belichick, I mean, his success has been linked to Brady. Prior to that, he wasn't successful. Since then, it's been okay, right? Sometimes I wonder how many of these teams are like, they're just overthinking that it's the Patriots. Like, even the teams that they're playing themselves, that they're like, I was sitting there, an example. I was watching the Colts. What's that show? Hard Knocks, the in-season one, because I didn't actually see it. And I watched it. Now I know why I didn't see it, because it was kind of boring doing an in-season one. But the week they were preparing for the Patriots, like even Frank Reich was buying into this. Oh, you gotta, oh my God, it's the Patriots. You gotta this, you gotta that, blah, blah, blah. And then they just smashed him. Like, yeah, what were you worried about, dude? Should have had that attitude against the Jags that you lost to in week 18. But it's just, even I think the NFL, the coaches and a lot of the players are just like, oh, New England. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they got a good offense. We're scared of them. No, not anymore.
So how's that for optimism, folks? Like right now, we at the very beginning of the show, they asked for optimism. I
don't know what was.
What, like, I don't know. And like, I feel like the Patriots are not something that we need to be scared of. Taken seriously, yes. Scared? No, never again. Never again. So with that being said, Ron, before we wrap this up, I want to just go ahead and let's get some actual actual game talk. So Dolphins are facing the guns of the Patriots. Yeah, predictions, essentially. Yeah. So they're facing the guns of the Patriots. Metal Gear Solid reference there. I had to throw that in. It's very poetic. So obviously, Tua Tagovailoa versus Mac Jones, Alabama versus Alabama. Mike McDaniel, the new head coach, versus possibly one of the oldest head coaches in the league right now. So what are your predictions as far as who's going to be the standout player, who's going to be the underrated, who's going to be the overrated player, and finally, what do you see the score being?
I've got, when you say the underrated player, like, what do you mean?
Well, I should have said, okay, let's do this. Underrated, overrated, MVP, and then the actual record. So, like, who's going to stand out? You're the star. Who's going to be the one that's going to do more things than we expected? Who's going to be the one we expect to do stuff and they don't? And then record, the game. Let's see the prediction.
I think this game is going to be a Waddle breakout game.
Okay, so not Tyreek.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Waddle breakout game. And I think that McDaniel and Hill are totally good with that. Like they want to, the Dolphins want to establish a dual threat receiving duo. If you don't know that Hill's a threat, then I don't know what to tell you if you're an NFL coach or player. But now it's going to be up to, and the way other teams are going to be playing against us, here's a great opportunity. Let's really break out Waddle. So when Baltimore and Buffalo and Cincinnati and the Jets and the Steelers all are prepping for Miami, they realize, oh crap, it's not just Hill. It's Waddle too. I understand that they think that, but we really haven't got to see Waddle truly explode for longer plays yet, because most of his stuff was a lot, because Miami's entire offense was just like the short passing game last year by design. So I think Waddle's going to be the big standout. Now, I don't understand your other question. Is the other question, who do I think is going to like stink up the joint?
I think so. So the next
be
one
underwhelming.
The underwhelming player. Like, we think they're going to do good, but they don't really have as much of an impact as we hoped. Because there's always that one guy that we project to be a really good player, and then he does absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I guess I probably wonder about, I hate to say it, Austin Jackson. I'm just a little nervous about him in this game. And I'm a little concerned about him in this game.
I mean,
I think he's going to need a little help over there. I think Robert Hunt's going to help him some. I think the tight end's going to have to help him a little. You know what I mean? I think he's going to need some help there. I wonder how much Gesicki we're really going to get in this game, because I wonder if it doesn't go well for AJ, are they going to kind of have to put Smythe in more to help out AJ's son? I'm just kind of wondering about that. So I'm a little concerned. If AJ can hold his own, it's going to really help the offense a lot more. But he's the one I guess I'm concerned about. Until further notice, he probably is the most concerning player on our team.
So now the underrated means this is the guy that we don't think is going to do a whole lot, but then he actually will. Not the guy you think is going to be the star. Just the guy who does more than you expect.
Melvin Ingram. He is going to come out and surprise people. I got him with a couple sacks for this game.
2 sacks.
I think it's
really.
Yeah, I think it's not a player that they're really thinking about. You know what I mean? But he is the opposite of Jalen Phillips. He has been consistently showing he's the starting outside linebacker opposite of Phillips. And you would think, but you're going to see more AVG normally. Yeah. But with AVG and the appendix thing, I think he's going to be quite limited in this game. I think he'll probably be on some kind of snap count. Maybe you'll see him a little bit more as a mix up in the second half, but I think they're going to get a steady dose of Melvin Ingram a lot. So I think that he's going to have like the breakout game, a name that people really aren't considering.
All right. My turn. I'm going to do my players, and then we'll do the actual prediction for the score. So my star of the game, and this may seem like a very stereotypical answer, but man, I'm just going to say Tua. I'm going to say Tua's going to be a star today, this game. And I feel like that we're going to want to do that right out of the gate, just to show that, listen, all this crap you were talking, all this garbage that you were talking about, how Tua's the worst. Tua can't throw. Tua can't do this. He's worse than Geno Smith. Now that came out. Like Tua's not tall, he's not fast, he's not long, he's not strong. All this stuff that's been coming out, and even still, with the fact that people have to come out and vehemently defend him, it's not even that. Oh, I think Tua's good. They have to like come out and say, "Here's why you're wrong about Tua." It's always a rebuttal against someone else that these people have to defend him. Tua's going to come out. He's going to light up this Patriots defense. He's already shown that he can beat these guys. What is his record now? 3-0.
3-0 against
3-0 against the Patriots. He's going to make it 4-0, and he's going to do it in remarkable fashion, and he's going to shut up a lot of people. And they're going to try to move the goalposts. Oh, the Patriots were depleted. They're not the same team. They don't have the kind of talent they used to have. They'll do that. I guarantee you they will. But it's not going to matter because
no, it's not going to matter because now games are being played, so it doesn't really matter what they say.
Yeah, they can do whatever. They can say whatever they want. Tua's going to be.
Yeah, they can say whatever they want once the games are played.
Yeah,
the truth is on the field.
Overrated player. Honestly, I'm not really feeling Jerome Baker right now. Yeah, he's been kind of the overlooked guy in the defense so far. He could still make an impact. I really think he could. And they just paid him, so it's not like they're just looking at Channing Tindall and saying, "Oh yeah, you're going to replace Jerome Baker." They just gave him a paycheck, so they're not going to be looking to move on from him just yet. But I don't know. Something about Jerome Baker just seems off this year for me. I don't think he's going to be quite as impactful as we think. But part of that might also just be because the defensive line and the pass rushers and the secondary are so potent that the linebacker core can sometimes get overlooked. So hopefully that's the case. Honestly, we might see so underrated player. I'm going to throw this one at you. How about Eric Rowe?
Well, that could be in this game. That makes sense.
I think we're going to see some Eric Rowe. I think that he's going to be doing
that. He's
going to be doing his. I think he's going to do what he did the last couple of years. He's going to be the tight end eraser because that was what he was good at.
Unless you're Darren Waller.
Yeah, Darren Waller's the exception.
Nobody's erasing him one-on-one, but to be fair,
like he even shut down George Kittle. I mean, let's be frank. Eric Rowe made George Kittle almost a non-factor for most of that game. The only one that was an exception is Darren Waller, and that's because Darren Waller's not a tight end. He's just a really big wide receiver. He's like Gesicki, but on steroids.
And what I like about this matchup is Eric Rowe being that tight end eraser when, the Patriots are going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. So a lot of times your slot cornerback, that's who he's facing up against, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's facing up against a tight end a lot of time when they're running those 2 tight end sets, which kind of falls more into Eric Rowe's wheelhouse versus having to chase a little, a bunch of little fast, slot receivers. Yeah, so I'm kind of, so I think that matchup, at least not having Needham there, but having Rowe might benefit us a little bit more for this game, and maybe Baltimore too.
Those matchups,
different story. We'll get to that. We'll get to that then.
Those matchups make a difference. They do. And I really think that the fact that Eric Rowe was so effective last year, I don't see why they wouldn't throw him in there just to be like, hey, you see Jonnu over there? You go cover him and do what you did last year, okay? Thank you very much. It's very easy to do that. That's the crazy thing. Because we keep talking about how the quarterback position is so weak, it's depleted. We've got options. We have options. Yeah, we are not like in so much trouble that we should be really concerned, especially since, again, it's only 4 games. Byron Jones will be back. Everything will be fine. I guarantee that he'll be up and ready to go. And then after that, it's like, because we've had that flexibility. Remember the amoeba defense. What was the point of the amoeba defense? Everybody's everywhere.
Yeah.
So they can do anything. Eric Rowe could be over here. He could be over there. He could be everywhere. And you would have no idea. So that's the crazy thing. So that's my overrated, my underrated, my MVP. So now let's go ahead and get into the actual score of the game and how you think it's going to happen. So Ron, you go first. What's the score? How's it going to turn out? What should we be looking at? And what are we going to be talking about in the post-game show on 5 Reasons afterwards?
I got 38-17 Miami.
Really?
Yes.
Bold. You didn't quite hit it. You didn't quite get to 40 though.
No, that's hard, man. 40. That's like something really went wrong for the other team.
We put a 40 on the Eagles.
Team scores 40. Something went really wrong. So
we put up 40 on Manny's Eagles.
Yeah, it's preseason. Poor Manny. Leave that man alone. He was just on a plane for 6 hours, dogging his Eagles. He doesn't have energy for you right now. I think
I always appreciate Manny being there.
Yeah, I think 38-17. I think we're going to get in the end zone a lot. I think that's going to be really what changes us this year. Obviously, it's kind of all right. That's kind of obvious. Well, if you get in the end zone more, you're going to score more points. I get that, but Tua is deadly in the red zone. He's got some of the best red zone numbers in the NFL in his short career. The issue with Miami has been trying to get to the red zone more. So I really think that he's really going to be able to shine this season. And I think this game in particular, they're going to get to the red zone plenty. And I think they're going to get it in there. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And my prediction is going to be, I'm not going to be quite as drastic as you. I'm going to go ahead and say something like 30 to, I like 17. Honestly, I like 17. I'm just going to take away a touchdown from Miami because while they're still I'm sure they're still kind of working out some kinks, but Tua's still going to look really good. Don't get me wrong. I think he'll throw like at least 2 touchdowns. He'll going to maybe hit 250 yards passing. Not too bad considering Tua's usual standards because, again, they're still going to be running the ball. Let's not act like they're not going to run the ball. We're not going to be so pass first that running the ball becomes an afterthought. That if that happens in this game, it's because something went wrong. That's my personal opinion.
That's one thing we still don't know is that we really don't know what a real run game is going to look like. I think some of the media probably knows more than we do, being at the practices that weren't open. Some of the stuff that they did with Ingold, but he was redshirted, but he was still pounding linebackers, even though he had a red shirt on. A lot of the stuff that we did in some of the practices, we didn't even do any of that stuff in preseason, like zero. You know what I mean? So we don't really know what the running game is going to look like. We do know that San Fran offense has been really good. Or that Shanahan offense has been really good at manufacturing a running game when you didn't necessarily have the most amazing offensive line or the most amazing running back
or the most amazing quarterback to scare off the defense.
Or exactly. So they just seem to be good and technical at doing it. There's some video breakdowns at some of the stuff they did in preseason. And it wasn't even our best stuff, but it was kind of interesting to see where the left tackle, where the tackle went, where the right tackle went, where the tight end went, where the fullback went. And a lot of times they just not necessarily, or we weren't really using a fullback, but a lot of times these players aren't necessarily going where you would expect them to go. It wasn't always just about here's your man in front of you, block your man. No, one guy will pass up and go straight to the second level while this guy comes over here and smashes this guy. It's just very interesting to watch. It'd be fun. I'm not really a film guy, but it'd be fun to see some of the film breakdowns as we start to play games and we start to get more tape out there. That'll be fun to look at.
And I'll just one last thing because Alfredo's calling me a hater. It's like I know he's messing around, but still, it's like listen, I'm very low key about my scores. For me to say 30 is a lot for me.
I mean, that's still a 13-point game. That's almost 2 touchdowns. That's not that's a good convincing win.
For me, that's high. I don't usually go into full on blowout. Wow, that was amazing to watch over and over again. Kind of scores. I always try to stay in the 20s range because that's the more realistic way of NFL games. If teams, I know that teams scoring more than 4 touchdowns is becoming the norm nowadays. It's becoming more normal, but I still feel like that these defenses, they're going to hold each other back somewhat. I really do. Because that as much as we say we're not scared of Bill Belichick, he is still a defensive coach. Okay. He's going to be able to do something to stop them to some extent.
We'll see.
And so 30 points, I feel like is good. And 17 for New England. Yeah. Again, Byron Jones not being there hurts, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So they'll put some points up, but it's not going to be anything I'm concerned about. All right. So thank you all so much for joining us. We had a great time today, and I'm looking forward to watching some football, some real football with the starting offenses and defenses going out there. And once again,
finally.
Yeah, exactly, man. So big thank you once again to our sponsor, Prize Picks. If you haven't gone to prizepicks.com yet and use the promo code 5 to pick your 2, 3, 4, or even 5 players across the NFL, across the NBA, or whoever else you want to do, again, they are offering you Tom Brady for free. You can go ahead and just pick him for the over of half a yard. They're literally gift wrapping him for you. What are you waiting for? Go to prizepicks.com right now. Use the promo code 5, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit. Prizepicks.com. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you all next time.
Well, I guess I'm still alive because nobody shut it off. So now I just do a show by myself this whole time. Yeah, you know what? The funny part is I can say anything because nobody's listening. Well, nobody that I do the show with is listening. All right, well, I guess I'm just going to leave. Thanks, guys.